Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode on Barbie's Diary. My name is Barbara Omo Dudu, and I film about family, career, lifestyle, and most recently, all things concerning immigration, settling down in a new city. My family and I relocated to Canada about 6 months ago. Actually, over 6 months ago. Seems like a long time. And yeah, we reside in Edmonton, Canada. And lately, I have been sharing content around our relocation, settling in, and all that good stuff concerning this journey. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. Thank you so much for continuing to like, share, comment, for even being part of this family. Thank you to all those OGs constantly on this channel, watching the videos, commenting, engaging my posts, and all of those good stuff. It brings so much joy to my heart, sincerely. Like how I get to have internet friends. It's just so much for me to deal with. But I'm grateful to you all. Thank you so much. So, like you may already know by the title of today's video, this video has been one I've always wanted to shoot since forever. Like since maybe even before I finally came here. Yes, I've always wanted to, demystify the notion around relocation, being a second class citizen, being a servant in another country, all of those weird stuff we hear people say about immigration. Just recently, about a month ago, Nigeria had its general election. The reason it took me so much time to sit down to film this video was because I did not want to film this video from a place of, what will I call it now? From a place of pain, from a place of shock. I really wanted to get my thoughts together and, you know, be fair in the things I would say. I did not want my emotions to get the best of me. And what better time to, demystify the myth of second class citizen and the Nigerian election as a case study, right? You know just what you do. You do to me. So I've heard people say that, oh, I don't want to relocate. I do not want to be second class citizen in another man's country. I don't want to go to another man's country. I'll be doing menial jobs. So it's believable if you've never left the shores of the country. And I do not blame anyone that, believes that genuinely because they feel that is what it is. I mean, how about when people that are knowledgeable, they read, even if they've not traveled, I mean, not everybody has traveled, and that's okay. If you've not traveled, do you still hold this kind of view? I really always find it difficult to measure that kind of ignorance, especially for knowledgeable people. So people that are educated, people that are literate, even though you've not traveled. So I know before I traveled, yeah, I was having a sincere conversation with one of my very good friends. And, we're just talking about this whole thing. And, she also raised that same conversation about, oh, she just, a lot of people say you travel abroad and then you're second class citizens where you are. That is such a faulty notion. Let's even start from there. It is a faulty notion and it is not true. We are Nigerians, yeah, and you do not want to travel because you feel like you'll be second class citizen elsewhere. But have you considered your status in your own country? Yes, you are a Nigerian citizen, but are you really treated as a first class citizen in your own country? If we even want to start this conversation, even in the countries we come from, you find out that the foreign nationals that are there, of course they are in minority, they're even treated better than you. So in your own country, the irony of it is you're not even treated as a first class citizen. Now, I'm not using that as a basis to judge why, if since you're not treated as a first class citizen in your own country, you should go somewhere and be treated as a second class citizen. I have stayed here a while to understand that there is mutual respect. I'm not profiling you and asking you, do you know who I am, or who are you? Who are you? Nobody's asking you such questions. Everybody's just treating you first with respect as a human being. And so back to the election, I was going to juxtapose with this. So the election just created even a bigger problem than I thought we had as a country. So, of course, we know there was a lot of tribalism between a tribe and another tribe. and there was so much chaos, and I was literally at the edge of my seat all through the election. Like I could not even post. I think I'm going to, if I still have that post I made, I'm going to put it somewhere here. We do not choose the tribe we belong to, right? So we just came to be. I mean, I came to be, and then I'm a Deltan. You came to be, and you are from the northern region. Someone else came to be, and they are Yoruba. So, but with tribe, you literally cannot pick where you come from. We all came to be. And so, if we all came to be, how are we now profiling ourselves based on, oh, we're only accommodating you here, and we can all call ourselves Nigeria. It was the irony for me, like, how do we say, or do we shout Black Lives Matter, right? Oh, Black Lives Matter, and we use the hashtag, and even in our own society, that's amongst ourselves, we are unable to show that togetherness, that love, that fellowship, as one people, irrespective of tribe, of religion, of I was so it was so shocking. As in, as much as I knew there was a problem before, the election even exposed that we even had a bigger societal problem. And it was so much for me to handle. I was like, no, there's no way this is happening. At some point, sincerely, and this is between me and you, I was now saying, I thank God that I am literally out of this kind of mentality. But it still rubs off on you. Like, you have people at home and you're wondering, are they safe? My whole life, I have lived and worked in Lagos, had my kids in Lagos. And then you're saying we cannot lay claim to that city because we are visitors there. We should go back to where we're coming from. And, we want to take the land away from somebody. Irrespective of who wins the election, at this point, I'm not even about who won what or who didn't, right? Matters are in court. Let the courts run its course. But I'm just, the fact that we cannot be accommodative of each other. And on you see, the way I look at some people have changed since the election, because the kind of comments they were making on their page, the kind of insightful, comment, they were just trying to overheat the polity in their own space. And yes, they would have their own following. You can say, oh, who are they in the scheme of things? But they have their following. And you're wondering, what message are you? These are literate people. These are people I have had dealings with. These are people I have possibly worked in the same organization with. And you share such myopic, reasoning about your fellow countryman. The whole election issue just, you know, allowed me to see a lot of people in a different light. And it just opened my eyes to the gratitude I feel that I am no longer in that space where, people do not respect other people's opinion. You think you have a community, but then you find out that tomorrow these people you feel are your next door neighbors, you reside in the same state, they begin to act funny towards you, they're beginning to mark territory, basically. I remember seeing videos of people saying, oh, if you are not voting for this party, do not come to the polling unit, in the presence of policemen, in the presence of armed security. They were making this unguided statement, and you begin to question our values as human beings first. How am I accommodating or accommodative of the next person? How am I able to, extend grace? So all of this just expose that even in our own space as Nigerians, we are not accommodative of ourselves. We even, qualify ourselves. So we're saying, oh, is it from my tribe? Does it speak my language? Is it from my church? Do we ask? Does it stay in my estate? We're beginning to create those tiny circles, beginning to marginalize the society, and it's just a recipe for disaster. Relocation is not for everybody. The reality is that not everybody will relocate, which is totally okay. Now, some people will not relocate because they do not want to. They want to keep remaining in Nigeria. It doesn't make them the most patriotic. Let's put it out there, because some of them do it like, oh no, so you are running away, who will now fix the country? The fact that you're there doesn't make you the most patriotic person. So let's get that out of the way. There are also those people that are there because they want to go, but they cannot afford to, because relocation in itself is not cheap. They are the set that want to go, but because of what people will say, those are the ones that I cannot even, as in, I cannot even relate to their struggles. Oh, I don't want people to think I've not made it in Nigeria, that's why I'm running. I don't want people to think, oh, I'm going to go abroad and start doing a cleaner job. It doesn't make the cleaner job bad. It doesn't make survival jobs bad. People have built houses, people have elevated their career. A lot of people that, are doing so well overseas have humble beginnings too. If they tell you this, I was listening to a YouTuber the other day about her humble beginning, and I'm like, whoa, whoa. A lot of people have stories to tell. What we think we're running away from in the West is literally what we face on a daily basis in our own land, as our own people, in our own community. That's why I said I am here to demystify that notion that anybody that travels is going to be a second-class citizen wherever they are. Wrong notion. The ignorance in it is over the roof. So if you know within yourself that you want to travel, please start the process. Don't let anybody hinder you with the conversations of, you're going to face a certain kind of treatment when you travel. That is not totally correct. I say totally correct because we will not undermine that. Yes, some people, some immigrants face racism where they are. It's not limited to, a particular country. Once they just put any jackpot story on some kind of gist blog or gossip blog, you just start seeing people say, they are there, they are washing toilets, they are sweeping the floor, they are packing snow. Do it with pride. If that's what's going to give you your daily bread, like I want us to start thinking positively. Gather yourself with people who believe that when I travel, I can be the change I want to see. It goes beyond me. So it is now a generational growth. So it goes beyond my person. Oh, I'm doing it for myself. I want to live a better life. Yes, that is part of it. I'm doing it for my kids. That's also part of it. But, exposing yourself to the opportunity to grow, to develop. Imagine that you have the opportunity of dual citizenship for yourself and your family. Like, I'm a Nigerian citizen. It's never going to go out of style. I will always be a Nigerian citizen, right? But then I'm giving myself the opportunity to be another citizen in another country. What's the harm in that? I'm giving my kids the opportunity to also experience another part of life that perhaps I did not get the chance to experience. What is the harm in that? So it's also, the endless possibilities, the ability to, have access to healthcare, good road, a working system that you do not get back home. I remember that as an employee, I had this really well packaged in my last place of employment, I had a really well packaged HMO plan. I was there for about a year and I never used those services. So even the premium you as an individual place on your own health in that country is really low, because I find out that here I'm more conscious of, oh, there's something wrong, I need to see my family doctor. Oh, somebody doesn't feel well, they need to go to the hospital to run a test. So I'm even more conscious here. Maybe because I see that, I need to live long to be able to enjoy all the things that I'm seeing here, right? But in Nigeria, you just deal with all of these things with a pinch of salt. Like, I beg, they survive. We don't care for what we're eating or what we're doing. We're just like, I beg, they rock out, they go, now cruise. Now, we live on cruise, on what will be. Some weeks ago, if I still have videos about it, I'll just put it somewhere here too also. So a week ago, there was a fire. The fire alarm went up in all the apartments in the building. Everybody had to step out. I was home with the kids, so I stepped out with the kids and we just went to the muster point, right? So everybody was there. And guys, I am not exaggerating. In less than 5 minutes, literally less than 5 minutes, the fire guys were here. In less than how many minutes, they were back down and they were like, it was just, it was just a minor incident. Then they had dealt with it and they were ready to go. We can all go back to our apartment. Now, while they were up there, I just scanned around and I found out that majority of us were blacks. Blacks, maybe from different countries, but were predominantly blacks. And these guys, that came to put out the fire, they were all white. Like I did not say any black people. They were all white. And nobody was saying, oh, where can I get water? Or who will bring Omo? I was just like, oh, this is so coordinated. This is what it should be. Like, this is what I have envisaged this kind of situation is supposed to be. But in some part of the world, especially from parts where we come from, the chaos in this kind of situation, ironically, a similar thing happened today. I saw in a popular market in Nigeria, Balogun. Today is 28th of March. Some hours after that stuff came up, there were still yet to be firemen at the scene. What is really happening? Can't we get it right? If you know you want to get out with your full chest. Like, beat your chest and say, you know what, I'm going out. You don't feel guilty that you're taking this decision, to better yourself or better your life or better your finances or better your future. Take it with your full chest, because the people we have put in charge of us have failed us. And even we ourselves, we have failed ourselves. We have failed our neighbor. We have failed our countryman. We have failed the next tribe. We have failed the other religion. We have literally failed ourselves. So we need to get it right. And let's live in harmony. Let's not even be third class citizens in our own country. I remember when we first came in and my husband would drive, he will come back home and tell me, babes, when I was driving, I saw the police vehicle and, there was this, I was not doing anything wrong, but I just had this apprehension in me. And I'm like, and that is the trauma of where we're coming from. In Nigeria, you see the police car pass by your car and then you are already traumatized because they can pull you over and mess you up. So that trauma even followed some of us here. The healthcare system at home is in shambles. People are rushed to the hospital. A lot of people have died deaths that they could have survived from. And so when you think back about all of these things, you're one step away from a kidnap. You're one step away from, a train mishap. You're one step away from terrorism. It's just so many things. And you're like, who is the next person? How long am I going to keep living in fear in my own homeland, in my own country home, in my own zone? So if you're not safe in your zone, is it not enough reason for you to say, you know what, I'm stepping out from this? It's just like a toxic relationship. You are there, you're doing everything to make things work. Things are not working. Step out. Is that not what we say? That's what we preach nowadays. If you feel, and that's what I'm still saying, if you feel that Nigeria is not giving you all it should give you, you are putting in so much, you are not reaping the benefits. There are graduates that are doing menial job in their own country. They're not able to, get jobs because some people have decided to plant their people everywhere. And those people that have struggled to go to school, get good grades, are struggling to even get the basic jobs. People are earning what cannot even hold them for a week. They are struggling with it for a month, not talk of even start planning a life or a future. You begin to now put all of this together and say, you know what, I'm giving this country a lot. It is not, even though it's not giving me as much as I am giving it. Let me step out and try something else. It's the same way we're fighting for us to try new leaders. It's the same way you can say, no, Nigeria is not giving. Let me try somewhere else. So do not go with that guilt. If you are still back home in Nigeria and it's working for you, I am so happy for you. I am proud of you. So wherever you find yourself, just ensure that you are giving it the best and you're also receiving, in equal proportion. Nobody's cheating anybody. You are one step away from any mishap. There's the police brutality. We're fighting corruption in high places, even in the smallest places. We're fighting waste management. We're fighting pollution. When you're at the junction and the agberos, the area boys, are terrorizing innocent citizens. I had entered a bus one day, right? And I think we're coming from Third Mainland Bridge to Bagada. So if you know the route, you understand what I'm saying. We're coming from Third Mainland Bridge to Bagada. And on that bridge, I think the guy had gotten to Bagada Express and he stopped, Harvest Church is on the other side. So he stopped on the road to drop off his passengers. And when he stopped on the road to drop off, those some uh men that were not ununiformed men, so they were not on uniform, they rushed into the vehicle, and I was even scared because I was in front. Yeah, I was sitting in front of with the driver. So I was scared. They rushed in, and you see how they pushed me in, and I was like, I was already panicking. Apparently, they were disguising so that they would um, catch unsuspecting drivers. The guy took over the steering, and this driver was driving, you know, and the guy was struggling the steering with him. If you know where Charlie Boy is and Bagada, you know that that's the next junction. So this is Bagada, this is Charlie Boy. So I was getting down at the next junction. I was so scared for my life. And everybody in the bus was like, Oga, leave the steering. Now let this driver drive and park at the next junction. Then you can, whatever it is you want to do, let's even start that conversation. He said no, that the driver is arguing with him and he will kill all of us in the vehicle. So he was going to drive into the main road and kill all of us. Anyway, we got to Charlie Boy in this commotion and I just came down and I said, thank you, Jesus. I felt for those people that still had Oshodi to get to, but I was just happy I had come down. But the sadness in me was beyond the happiness of thank God I had alighted. I was like, so this guy would have easily just driven us into the express just to make a point. But I was like, my God, what did I just witness? And that's the reality of a number of people. So no dignity for human life. People just treat you like they don't care. Agbero is really ready to kill for 50 naira. How many do you want to talk about? People don't treat you like a human being. So I hope I have been able to just let you know that in if you want to travel, Canadian hopefuls, please do it with your full chest. Don't allow anybody discourage you. Don't allow anybody tell you, oh, don't go. People abroad are suffering. People want to, on all the gossip blogs and jit blogs now, what you see there is, oh, somebody telling you, do you still want to come to Canada? Do you still want to come to UK? There is snow, cold wants to finish me. Oh, one thing. I know people say all of those things. They are cruise. Some of them might actually be passes of information, but I believe that for me, if you ask me, if you want to, please come. But if you don't want to, I'm also, as in, it's a personal decision. But if you ask me that is it worth it, I would say it is worth it. I'm not one to come and tell you, oh no, don't come, oh, we're suffering here. It is worth it. So please, if you want to, please go ahead and come this way. And yes, for jobs, for all of those things, yes, you might struggle at the beginning. I, for one, I have shared with you guys my struggle on this channel. I have shared with you guys my struggle with settling in, and it doesn't make it a bad journey in itself. It doesn't mean I did not see food to eat, or I could not pay my rent. It didn't mean any of those things. It's just a struggle of settling. And I understood at that point that it was a phase that would go. It was challenging, yes, but it was a phase that would go, and I'm better for it now. So if this is something you want to go, please get off that notion that you are a second class citizen wherever you travel to outside the country. Get off that notion that you have to do menial jobs. No, you don't have to do menial jobs. There are people that get really good paying jobs even from their home country. Our fellow home countrymen, I know a number of them have shared on YouTube, on different places, that they got jobs from their country before coming to Canada. It can be the same for you. You don't have to come here and start scrubbing toilets. If that is what you get to do to settle in for a while, please do it with all dignity. Nobody here profiles you because you're a cleaner. Nobody here profiles you because you're a cleaner. Nobody speaks to you anyhow because you're an Uber driver. So if that is what would help you settle in, or if that's what will sustain you, please pursue it. It is dignifying. So there's dignity in the labor, and at the end of the day, it is your story you are writing. You are writing your story. If you have the opportunity to recreate your story, will you be happy about the decisions you have taken, or would you regret that you did not make the move when you could have? That's something I want to think about. So do you sit back now and say, oh, I don't want to do it? In 10 years time, when you look back, and I'm not saying Nigeria is not going to be better. We all pray that Nigeria is better. We are praying for Nigeria to be better so that we always have somewhere we can go to, because Nigeria is still home. But in 10 years time, would you look back and say, I should have done this at this time? or would you be happy for the decisions you took 10 years ago? So think about this and let that help you make a decision. The myth, I hope that this video has helped you to demystify the myth that you are a second class citizen where you go. Here, you are treated fairly nicely, as equal as the next person. You are, there's dignity for human person. You're able to plan. You're literally part of a future for yourself by the grace of God, and you see everything manifest just like you want it or even better. I, for one, have enjoyed the peace and serenity of the environment. So if you are the one that is moved by riches and material things, maybe you like to have 20 cars, even though you can only drive one at a time. If you're that kind of person, well, you might not see the need to relocate. But if you're somebody that just wants to enjoy a peaceful, serene, rich, and not rich even though rich in cash, so in finances, in money, and also rich in experience, rich in in people, rich in diversity. If you're someone that enjoys all of those kind of things, so you want to experience the world, I think you should consider relocating. Okay, if that's what you want to do. So thank you so much for for watching this particular episode. I sincerely hope that you've learned a thing or two and that you enjoyed watching. And please do well to subscribe. I want this conversation to continue in the comment section. What do you think? What have I said that has triggered you? Please ensure that you're putting out your opinions respectfully. Respect other people's opinion. Do not curse. Do not insult. I do not like to see that on the channel. So please, let's keep it as civil and poised as possible. All right. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.